Here is this week's 3 mobility warm-up exercises.
Okay, this is going to be an abductor rollout utilizing a foam roller. So what you're going to do is you're going to start down on one knee. So Chief's down on his right knee. He's going to put his left leg on that foam roller. It's going to be just above his ankle. And what he's going to do is he's going to move and shift his weight out to that left side where that foam roller's at. Feeling a nice stretch right in the groin. He's going to feel it right in the abductors right there. Thank you for pointing that out, Chief Reynolds. Right in there. So each time he comes down, he's trying to get a little bit deeper of a stretch right in the abductors of the groin. We're going to do this for about 6 to 10 reps per leg, depending on your comfort level, how good you have, how good your mobility is with your hip abductors. Roll that out. Now each time he comes out, he's going to focus on his breathing. So as he comes down, he should be exhaling right now, trying to get a little bit deeper into his stretch. Come back up. Inhale, come back down as he exhales. He tries to get a little bit deeper. Really focusing on stretching those adductors out. We'll do one more here, and then we'll go ahead and we'll switch legs. Excellent job. Coming on over to the other side. Stretch it out. This is a really good one to use in order to really get those hips to start opening up. A little bit more hip flexibility. A lot of times that'll help release some of that tension in that lower back. Everything in the lower back and the hips, it's all connected.
District 4 for the fire alarm.
We're really focusing on stretching out. We're going to exhale as we come down.
Central Elementary School.
And you can see he's already getting a little bit more flexibility in opening up those hips. Each time he comes down, he's able to get a little bit deeper. We'll do one more.
1028. Century School. 23723 West Guthrie Avenue.
Nice. This is going to be a 90-90 hip switch with a hip thrust. So we're going to start in a seated position, hands and back. We're going to have our heels on the ground with our toes pointed towards the ceiling. 90-degree bend in the knees. What Chief's going to do is he's going to rotate over to his right side, and he's going to focus on having a 90-degree angle right in his knees. Okay, both knees here.
That's not 90, sorry.
There we go. Now we're at 90 degrees. From here, we're going to thrust our hips up, and we're going to feel a nice deep groin stretch. We'll come back down. Rotate over to the left side here. Thrust up and feel that nice deep groin stretch. Chief, go ahead and go over to the other side. Now from here, he's using his right and left arm to kind of balance and control himself. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Our focus here is just to get the mobility in the hips, start to really get those hips to move and lube the joints up and get a little bit of that synovial fluid in there.
What? Synovial fluid. Let's not
Back up.
Be tactical here.
Thrust those hips. Good. Come back over. Now you're going to feel that stretch. When he thrusts his hips, you should feel a nice groin stretch. Now one of the nice things about this little movement and this mobility drill is as he thrusts up, he's getting a little bit of that glute activation right in the back as he holds that position right there. He'll come back down. So we're going to do one more on each side. So our total here, what we're focusing on is we're about looking at 6 rotations per side. So 6 to the right, 6 to the left. If we want to do more, you can go up to 10 per side. But just work on moving those hips, getting that mobility in the hips, and getting that nice deep stretch. Excellent job. This is going to be a squatting clamshell. So what you're going to do is you're going to get down into a deep squat position. Remember to make sure that your heels are on the ground. You're not up on your toes. You're going to put your elbows in between your knees, hands together, and all you're going to do is force those elbows out. Hold for a count of 2, come back, and then force them out. Okay, so this is a good hip opener. So all we're working on is opening those hips. Hold for a count of 2, come back. Nice job, Ryan. Why don't you come all the way up and we'll turn and give him a side view. Come all the way down. Hands, elbows in between the knees. Let them come together, push them out. Come together, and then push them out. You'll feel that stretch deep right in the inside of the groin. And we want to focus on 10 to 15 reps. Again, hold for a count of 2, feel that nice deep stretch. You can hold it longer if you'd like, depends on how it feels for you, how tight your hips are. Ryan's got tight hips, so he's going to hold it for a little bit longer. Do one more, Ryan. Nice job. This is a standing hamstring stretch to a low squat. So what you're going to do is you're going to stand with your feet a little bit greater than shoulder width apart. You're going to bend over, grab your toes like you're doing a stretch, and then all you're going to do is drop your hips and you're going to sink down into a nice deep squat. Come back up, back down into that deep squat. Okay, so our goal here is to really work on some of that hip mobility, going from that high position to that low position, really working on lubricating the femur within the pelvis and the hip socket. Do 2 more, Ryan. Nice job. Go ahead and turn to the side. Okay. Go ahead. So one of the things that we really want to focus on here is make sure that you keep your weight in the back of the foot or in the midfoot. We don't want to be coming up on our toes. You can see he's got a little bit of a round in his back here, and even when he comes down, his pelvis dips underneath. It's called a butt wink. We're not really too concerned about that because we don't have any load. So if there's a little bit of rotation in that spine, it's not that big of a deal because we haven't added a load to it. If we were doing a squat and we had this rotation, or that pelvis comes and rotates underneath him, and we were doing a back squat with a load, we would have a little bit of a concern because that is going to pull the vertebrae into an abnormal position. So all we're focusing on here is just working the hips and getting it through a range of motion. Okay, we want to focus on 12 to 15 reps. Just coming up, feeling that good hamstring stretch when you're all the way in the high position, and then just sink down right into that low squat. Nice job. Here's some lumbar rocks. So what you're going to do is you're going to lie flat on your back. You're going to have your knees bent at about a 90-degree angle and pull those toes up towards the ceiling. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shift our legs over to one side. So Chief's going to shift over here to the right side. You want to maintain your shoulders on the ground as you shift. So if you can bring your knees all the way over to the ground, great. If you can't, this is a good starting point. Then you will roll over to your left side. And all we're doing is trying to get a nice stretch in our lumbar spine. Okay, again, we want to slowly and control the movement here. Nice and easy. Just roll from one side to the other. Try to keep the shoulders and that thoracic spine on the ground, and just slowly move the hips from one side to the other. So we're going to do anywhere from 6 to 10 rotations on each side. So we'll get anywhere from 12 to 20 rotations each side. Depends on how good this feels for you, how much work you need to do with your mobility in your lumbar spine. If at any point this causes you any discomfort, we want to stop. Okay, we don't want this to cause a lot of discomfort in that lumbar spine. This is just a good drill to do to kind of loosen that area up, just work on some mobility. And again, this is something that we want to make sure that we can control. We're going to do one more on each side here, Chief. Nice job. This is going to be a quadruped thoracic rotation. So we're going to be on all fours, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And what we're going to do is you're going to take your right arm, you're going to reach under your left side, bringing your right shoulder down, and we're going to reach down as far as we can. We're going to rotate back to the right, bring your hand behind your head, and we're going to open up that chest, stretching out that thoracic spine. Okay? Come back down, switch. Left arm goes under to the right side, feel a nice little stretch, come back up, hand goes behind the head, we open up, good, back down. Now we'll repeat that. So each time we rotate here, we're going to hold each position for a count of 1 or a count of 2, come back closed, switch, reach on through, come back open. Try to open up as far as we can and then back down. Okay? So again here, as we progress and we keep going, each time we're exhaling into that stretch, inhaling, and then exhale into the next rotation. Okay? Each time we come through, we try to get a little bit farther, open up that chest, come back down, switch sides. So here we're going to shoot for anywhere from 6 to 10 reps per side, again, depending on how open you can get, how good it feels. And as we start to progress, we should be able to open up and get that shoulder and that elbow all the way up, pointed straight towards the ceiling. Okay? Working on that thoracic mobility. Nice job. We're going to do one more on each side here. Reach through, open that chest up, look to the sky. Reaching it all the way through. And as you can see here, every time Chief goes down, he gets a little bit more mobility as he's able to open up. So doing this a few times per week will really help open up that thoracic spine and loosen up the upper back. Nice job, Chief. This is going to be a scorpion kickover. So you're going to lie face down, arms out to the side, and what Chief's going to do here is he's going to take his right leg and he's going to kick it over to his left side. Okay, we're doing two things here. We're going to work on a nice chest stretch, and we're going to work on some mobility in the lower back. Okay, come back, Chief. Now switch to the left foot. Kick it on over. Okay, now he doesn't have a whole lot of mobility in that lower back, which is fine. Go ahead and go back, Chief. Switch to the right leg. Our goal is to be able to get that foot that's kicking over to come all the way over and touch the ground on the opposite side. And back. So this is something that we're probably only going to do about 5 to 6 reps per side. And we want to progress this each week, doing a few more each time and working on that mobility in the low back and trying to get that foot to kick all the way over and come to the ground. Now, if you can bring that foot over and touch the ground without any issues, then we can go ahead and start progressing it up, and we can do anywhere from 8 to 12 reps per side. And as you can see, as he's going here, he's already starting to increase his mobility in his lower back. He's actually starting to get that foot a little bit lower to the ground each time he comes over. So you progress this a few weeks and he'll actually probably be able to touch the ground within a few weeks, increasing that mobility of the back. We're gonna do one more on each side, Chief. Excellent job. This is going to be quadruped to downward dog. So we'll start down in a quadruped position, knees on the ground, hands underneath the shoulders. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring your knees up off the ground and drive your hips straight up. Okay? Come back down into the quadruped position. Come back up. Back down into the quadruped position. Now what we want to focus on here is when we drive those hips up, is right in here we should feel a stretch all the way down the leg, back down, back up. We want to drive our head down as far as we can in between our shoulders. Try to drive those feet all the way into the ground. Try to ground those heels. This is a good total body stretch. Now, if you have tight hamstrings, tight calves, anything tight in the legs, it might prevent you from feeling a good thoracic stretch in the upper part of the back. But over time, as you do this and you start to loosen the legs out, we should start to feel a total body stretch right through the spine. We want to focus on doing about 10 to 15 reps of this. And again, each time as we come up, exhale, try to drive a little bit deeper. We'll do one more. Excellent job.